Step 1. Decide to read a creepypasta for fun. Step 2. Find a creepypasta that looks interesting, decide to read it.
Step 3. Realize you wasted hours of your life on a horrible story.
April 16, 2021. The Bad Creepypasta Incident.
This is a filler video between my childhood trauma video and my future creepypasta video that will be coming out soon. Today I wanted to talk about the worst creepypasta genre in my opinion, and why these creepypasta are frequently associated with being low quality. There are a few genres I feel could be considered the worst. This video is going to be split into short sections covering the few genres individually that I think contend for the worst place spot, and finally the genre that I truly consider the worst. The first genre that I sadly have to talk about is the killer genre. Now I want to preface this by saying that I can understand the appeal to some degree for all of the genres I'm talking about, but I do believe that all of these genres are majorly low quality. The reason I've chosen the killer genre first is because it's probably the lowest quality on the list. That doesn't mean I personally feel it's the worst. However, let me explain. Killer stories always follow a basic line of thought. A self-insert character struggles with some type of abuse, either from their family, peers, or both, and eventually snaps, murdering either their bullies, family, both, or random people. This also typically leads to them adopting a certain style like Jeff the Killer or Nina the Killer, for example. If you've seen Internet Historian's video on Jeff the Killer, you pretty much know how all of these stories go. And honestly, Jeff is genuinely one of the more coherent and well-written stories in the genre. If you'd really like to explore this genre further, Hodo Odlum's Revenges videos concerning this genre are a great place to start. The next genre is Dottie creepypasta. While the games can be fun, the creepypastas can typically be the opposite. We can really use the most common story as an example. While I enjoy Sonic.exe because of the nostalgia factor, I think we can all agree it's relatively poorly written. From the hyper-realistic blood to the Sonic plushie appearing on the bed at the end, this story created an infamous genre revolving around evil executable file games that could ruin your life. Again, this isn't to say they don't have their entertainment value, or that there aren't any fun ideas. There's some type of good to all of the genres mentioned. However, the bad outweighs the good here and in all of the others as well. Lost episode creepypastas are the largest genre here by far. Though it being a larger genre allows for more high-quality examples, it also presents how much the negative outweighs the positive in this genre. Squidward's suicide is the godfather of all lost episode creepypasta. Take that as you will. On a serious note though, Squidward's suicide contributed to many of the cliches that plague the lost episode creepypasta genre. Excessive blood, hyper-realism, the episode starting off normal and ending up horrible, and an excessive note of exposition at the end that attempts to explain how the insane episode was created or why it came out. Some examples include Spongy Cry 1 and 2, the Gumball Lost episode story, and Dead Bart. This is really my favorite genre out of all of them. However, it seems that while the stories are typically poorly written, for some reason they always hold a level of entertainment value, likely because of how insane the actual lost episodes can be sometimes. Regardless, let's go on to the final category. Yeah, it's video game creepypasta time. Now look, I understand that video game creepypastas are pretty much the largest genre of creepypasta out there, if not one of the largest. However, I think we can all agree that there are a lot of horrible video game creepypastas. It would take way too long to list them out. However, so I'll just cover why I personally believe they're so bad. Video game creepypastas, regardless of the game, regardless of the context, and regardless of the time setting in the story, somehow more often than not cannot leave the typical cliches the genre contains. Not just that they can't stray away from the cliches, but also that these same cliches for the most part aren't worked into the stories in a quality way. They're extremely blatant and/or repeated several times throughout the same story. This is disregarding the almost equally as common trend of plots being nearly identical or completely incoherent. I'm no critic and obviously not an expert, but I'm sure you can see where I'm coming from. So, which is the worst of the worst in my opinion, you might ask? Okay, well, even if you didn't hear it is. The worst creepypasta genre of all time is Lost Episode Creepypastas. Now hold on, calm down the outrage and hear me out. The main reason I feel that Lost Episode Creepypasta are the worst of the worst is because of the raw wasted potential. 1999 is a story that showed us the potential that Lost Episode Creepypastas could have if fused with a better written real-world mystery. Pretty much no other Lost Episode stories even attempted this style or any type of deep well-written style, at least none that I can remember. I can understand how you'd make that argument for video game creepypastas as well. However, I'll argue that that genre has fulfilled its potential much more than the Lost Episode genre. The reason the killer genre wasn't voted the worst is simply because those stories are so horrible they're kind of in their own league. It's kind of like I never had an expectation for them anyway, so they can't really be ranked in any way. Regardless, that's just my opinion, and I'd like to know what creepypasta genre you think is the worst.